Man.
Oh, I didn't realize Chat Gang was already here. I thought we were just like staring into silence. But apparently, Chat Gang was just like staring at me saying nothing. And good on them. I can't see what they're saying. They're probably making fun of me.
See, the water's not to wash out the spice, Marok Wolf. The water's to wash out the half and half. So I've got the half and half in my patented PBR glass here. It's not patented. I don't know the patent to this. So I've got that in my handy dandy PBR glass here. I only bust this thing out for special occasions when I'm not drinking alcohol. Then I put stuff in the glass that looks like a PBR can, so that I mentally tell myself I'm kind of drinking. So I've got the half and half here. This is of course an Alton Brown tip for spicy foods. He did it on Hot Ones. He's mentioned it before, because you need two things to compete essentially with what is an acidic reaction. Spice, the capsaicin, the thing that makes things spicy, is essentially an acidic reaction. So you need either fat or alcohol. And the alcohol may be a misnomer, but when you're drunk, you don't feel pain as much. So here we are. Looking smart in the glasses, says Captain Andrew. So, you of course have a gin and tonic handy.
Always.
Yeah, and then I've got a Wisconsin lager here with me. This is Two Women by New Glarus. It is illegal to sell their beer outside of the state. No joke. It is. This is a legal beer if I sell it to you. So when I see you at a convention or tournament, whenever this is all over, boom. Not illegal beer as long as I hand it to you, which I will do because I miss tournaments so much. Like I think I got the itch because Rantcast or the Rantathon, which is why we're doing this. If you're just now catching up, I guess I didn't do the intro. I'll do the intro real quick. Good evening, Chat Gang. I am the magical Mr. Mephisto, the artist formerly known as the most dangerous man in Age of Sigmar, now the purple-haired wizard of the airwaves. I am joined by Papa Nurgle's most blessed son, the inimitable Paul Conti of Radio Free Hammerhal. How's it going, my friend?
What's up, nerds? I am here. I'm ready. I got nuts. I got booze. I got questions. The questions are very important.
The questions are the most important part of this. So what we're actually doing is I mentioned the Rantathon just kind of there at the cold open, the Death Nut Challenge. This was $800 donation incentive, I believe, or a donation milestone. My purple hair I'm sporting right now was of course $1,000, and we raised over $7,000. So what a fool I was for underestimating you all. But I'm checking off all the milestones. I'll be talking to a tattoo artist here. I'll get a date locked in for the Nagash tattoo. Sorry, Nagash tattoo. ABB, always be on brand. I'll be getting my Nagash tattoo right here on my pristine, sexy Irish skin. Talking to an artist. I've got a sketch that I'll be using from Shanzor there as like the sort of starting point. Hey, I'm looking for something like this. But that'll probably happen in December. Molly and I are going to get tattooed together. I was going to get her a tattoo for her birthday, so it turns out that my suffering just happens to coincide with that. So right out the gates, ooh, Frank on the rocks. Thank you so much for that Twitch Prime sub. 11 months. Now, we're actually up on my 1-year anniversary too. So like. Awesome there. Almost a year, yeah. It'll be a year in a couple weeks. But I think what I was saying is like the Rantathon happened on what would have been Midwest Meltdown. That was when I was feeling it's like I had the thing to focus on. As soon as it was gone, I think it hit me that like I didn't have Midwest Meltdown in my diet. Like I didn't get to go and play games. And I think I've been like pining for tournaments since then. How are you holding up, man?
I'm pining over Nova not happening still, and that would be coming up in a couple of weeks.
And
so I am.
Yeah. So have you made how many Novas have you hit? Is it like an annual thing for you? Is it a?
Well, last one was my first one, and I immediately decided it was going to be an annual
This is it
thing.
every time.
Like,
Yeah.
as soon as I said
Yeah.
yeah, it is a huge convention, fantastic convention, really nice location. It's basically like all of the pieces coming together. Plus, like the whole Warhammer community goes to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
This is
which means you need to go.
I do need to go. I do need to go. No, this is the one I plan on cosplaying for. And this Renaissance fair, I was going to look for a cloak for my, like, essentially, like, necromancer / bone shaper. Oh my. Oh my. So first of all, we had Hobby Bear, Brendan Melnick, and Frank remind everybody that Chat Gang ain't nothing to fuck with. So 1,000 RDP each spent to remind y'all Chat Gang ain't nothing to fuck with. And then Chaos Lord pops off gifting subs. And not to be outdone, Marok Wolf throwing out 10 tier 1 subs to the community for a total of 20 gifted. The Mad Lad Mars and Marok. The Mad Lad Legion. That's right. Thank y'all so much. Yeah, spam all the emojis. Get the Nagash up in here. Disappointed Samurai Man. Our Chat Gang emblem. And be sure to watch Rob Symes's Super Series. I think that's going to be on the T Sports Network. Spam Nagash because Nagash is best. Sorry, Nagash is best. A battalion of mad lads is forming. That's right. That's right. So we got a hype train forming.
Just gonna one drop Mad Lads.
Yeah, the one drop Mad Lad battalion OP, everybody. Vanilla sauce reminding everyone Chat Gang ain't none to fuck with. So we got this. We got these here. I'm actually gonna go ahead and Minimum Pants also reminding folks that Chat Gang ain't nothing to fuck with. Thank you so much. So I've got my peanuts here. I haven't busted them out of the thing. I'm actually going to be kind of handing over the show. I've talked a bunch. Look at me. Like, this is where you have the meme. It's Paul Conti. It says, "Look at me. I am the host now." Because he's going to go ahead and essentially what we're going to do here is we've got 5 peanuts. You can see actually like there's a picture in the lower right hand side of the screen. But for those of you in pure audio, it's 5 increasingly hotter peanuts. And we're gonna do this like hot wing style or a hot one style a little bit. So you've got some questions. We're gonna progress our way through the progressively hotter peanuts, and you're gonna kind of interview me along the way. Minimum Pants.
I have an X-Acto knife here because this is not gonna peel off on its own.
Yeah, I used a pencil to get the tape up. So good job. I like knowing that my food thing that my 13 million Scoville heat unit snack is properly secured when it's shipped to me. So of course this was like what was that?
I was just saying yes.
Yeah, it's about like a $20 on Amazon. Like looking for like spicy foods to eat as a challenge, and this one really jumped out. I like that it was like the progressively hotter nuts. So you start out with heat level mild, the first clutch of peanuts. So it's actually got these little like sort of chambers of doom, right? And you kind of like it's like a dungeon grind. You're sort of like grinding your way through the dungeon of hotness, starting out with a Carolina Reaper plus chocolate bootla pepper is the first like set of peanuts. The next one then is warming up. It's a Carolina Reaper plus ghost pepper seasoned peanut. Once you hit the third tier, you're at the Carolina Reaper plus 7 pot brain strained peppers, and all of these, the lightest one is already over 1 million Scoville heat units. Like if you were to just like face a ghost pepper or a Carolina Reaper, you're already in the 2 million Scoville territory. If you know anything about spicy food, which is really kind of becoming its own thing, isn't it? Like we're just
it really is.
We're using
like the fact that you like say Scoville units, like the average person on the street probably knows what you're talking about. Like we live in an interesting time.
Yeah, and we're just like sciencing spicier and spicier peppers, which is pretty freaking rad. Actually, I love food science. Like Baja Blast. Like Baja Blast kind of sucks. But it's really awesome with Taco Bell because the food scientists sat there just like engineering sodas that taste great with like your cheesy gordita crunch or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think it looks like to get something as hot as the 13 million Scoville.
Yeah.
Like this has to be chemically engineered.
Right.
Like there is no way that like a chemist wasn't involved in creating this.
Right. Yeah, so somebody has like their chem or biochem degree, like their PhD, and they went and they worked for Blazing Foods Incorporated, to engineer spicy peanuts. That's kind of fantastic. Mezagus says that Paul guy is dreamy, even if he does play Nurgle. So we mentioned the Carolina Reaper pepper plus the 7-pot brain strain pepper. So that's a food science pepper. The level 4 is the pain sets in 2-time Carolina Reaper peppers plus the 7-pot Douglas peppers, which is probably the food scientist who engineered that pepper. And then finally we have the Death Nut, which is 2 times Carolina Reaper pepper, a Moruga Scorpion pepper, and 13 million Scoville capsaicin crystals on the peanut because they're like, we can't, without chemistry, make this hot enough. So, I said, go ahead.
There's also a little rules sheet. For how to do this. Were you aware of this?
I know, and I'm technically cheating because I do have the food on hand. But what are the rules? Tell us the rules, man.
All right, so if you are to do this challenge properly, which we are definitely not fucking doing this properly because this is crazy.
Right.
Rule number 1 is no liquids or food allowed until completion. No, thank you. I got my booze ready.
Yeah.
However, I think rule number 2 and rule number 3, we should be able to take care of these. Chew entire contents of each level for 15 seconds.
Okay.
That seems doable. Wait 60 seconds before advancing to the next level. We are definitely doing that because we're going to be doing questions.
Right.
All right. And then rule number 4, after eating the contents of level 5, the Death Nut, you must endure a 5-minute burn to complete the challenge.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna do exactly all of that. I was watching videos on YouTube. There's this one where it's just Irish people try stuff. It's probably my favorite one because I love a good thick Irish accent, and they had stuff on hand, and most of the challenges I've seen. Like, we have a show to complete. Maybe if I was in a vacuum and this was edited, but we're live. Come on, you gotta lean on the live crutch a little bit. But I'm super happy to see that they said thank you so much for the order. Use coupon code BLAH to save $5 on my next order. Thank you. Like as if you're gonna do this more than once. All right.
Also, there's a warning on here. Caution: extremely hot. Wear gloves.
Yeah, don't rub your eyes. Oh snap!
Yeah.
Actually, I do move my bangs out my eyes a lot, so I'm just gonna go ahead and preventive measure, put on a baseball cap.
Yeah, I love that along with the purple hair, you've gone to like the emo hairstyle.
I've always had trying to get a pompadour though. I've always been trying to get like the full pomp. It's just in this humidity, rather than like going straight forward, it just falls flat in front of my eyeball. So it's once winter rolls around, you'll get the full like 50s like James Dean cool effect, I think. And I'm actually rocking you can't tell it because it's black on black print, but I'm actually rocking one of the hats that the MHA I Don't Mind campaign sent me after they found out about like the $7,000. They're like, why don't you pick something from the store? And I'm like, not necessary, but I like this hat, and it says I Don't Mind in cursive on it. I'm probably going to rock it at all the tournaments. And they're actually going to coordinate with us next year for this. So hopefully next year they'll like, I don't know, send me stickers and t-shirts that I can like give away as like consolation prizes or something. That would be really, really, really sweet to help advance. To remind everyone why we're doing this, why we're suffering on camera. It was the Rantathon.
Yeah.
$7,000 raised. One of the milestones was to do this. All for mental health. Visibility, which is something close to both of our hearts. I know I have my struggles. You have yours. You've been on Rantcast talking about it. So.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you've watched some videos. So what have you done to prepare yourself for this?
Honestly, I drank. I've been drinking beer a little bit today. So I got home from. I ended up working today.
Watched a bunch of videos of people eating these nuts and like wanting to die.
Yeah, I watched all the videos where they were eating them. I'm like, I didn't have any anxiety until right when I went live, did the cold open, and I left and got a bigger glass of water. Standing in the kitchen, filling up my glass of water, that was when the anxiety hit me. Right then, at that exact moment. I was just like I have this thing where like, maybe it's part of my disassociation, like, problems that I have. I have this thing where like things don't feel real to me until they happen. And I think it's where like my skepticism, my like cynical nature overlaps with like my sort of defense mechanism of disassociation. And I think they just like they form the perfect vector, and then like things just like they're not real to me until they happen. And so like at that moment, getting the glass of water, I'm like, oh snap, this is real. Real quick, minimum pants redeeming 1,000. 1,000 RDP, and Joanna popping off with now 4,000 RDP to remind everyone that chat gang ain't nothing to fuck with. So.
Yeah. So I have done no preparation.
Okay.
And I had a methodology to not preparing for this. Because I don't want to know how bad this is going to be. I assume this is going to be a really horrible experience, but I don't want somebody else's bad time to influence my own brain.
I'm gonna hand this over as your show shortly, but I gotta ask a question. Do you think that speaks to our two different mentalities? Like, because I did watch all the videos, like, and I'm like, I gotta collate, I gotta do my research. I got to get some practical experience into my frame of reference to understand things. Like, I had to, and you're just like, nah, man, going in blind. Do you think that speaks to our personalities, or is it just like this is just a random thing?
It might be. I think it probably is a personality trait difference.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm sort of still at the disassociation level. Like, I've cracked it open. I've got these nuts like sitting right here in front of me. And like they don't even look spicy, and I'm not thinking about really like how awful this is likely to be. I am just like preparing the questions in my head. I'm like,
I forgot to ask Molly for tissue. Like, I've got my little prep station here, and as I open this up, I'm like, this actually smells really good. I just opened the first chamber. Real quick, Chaos Lord. Yeah, it does. No, it's got a good aroma. Like, I don't like nuts very much in like food. Like, I hate them, but I love like honey roasted peanuts and like sunflower seeds and like even like the spicy, like their little spicy variants, like especially that like weird spicy popcorn peanut thing, where it's like candied. I can't remember what they're called, but those are awesome. Where they've got the hard bubbly shell. Actually, kind of looks a little bit like the coronavirus picture. Now that I think about it.
I actually really like the combination of spicy and peanut. Like, that's like a combination in a lot of Thai food.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, the whole way that I got into this mess to begin with was you like mentioning this in a Facebook message and being like, "Oh, dude, I love spicy food. That would be awesome to do." Yeah. And
you fool.
We are. We're about to find out just how bad of an idea that this was.
All right, so I'm officially passing the torch. This is your show now. I'm just going to kind of moderate chat here. We're going to witness. Joanna says we're going to witness Meph's transition to lichdom. I mean, I've been like a partial or like a demi lich so far, but yeah, I think we're about to. This is the final step in the ritual. Is these peanuts?
Yeah.
So yeah. I how do you want to do this? Your show now, man.
My question 0 was already sort of gotten out of the way, like what you did to prepare. Right. Like, did you, like, were there other options of spicy food things to do other than this that you thought about?
Yeah, so there was actually like a like several million Scoville heat unit potato chip where it's like a single chip. But like they were currently sold out, which was like kind of one, and like, I could wait for them to come into stock because obviously some of the milestones were long-term goals. But Cody actually on Twitter /Joe, depending on how you know him, he suggested the spicy chip because this was like a streamer like spicy chip. There's a spicy Cheeto actually, which is like the world's spiciest like cheese poof because Cheeto's the technical term, so or the copywritten term, it's a cheese puff. So there's like the spiciest cheese puff. And so like I was kind of going through them, and the peanut challenge, it really was the progressing levels. Because the rest are just like, here's the thing, eat the thing once. I'm like, this is awesome. Plus, like you're saying, I think subconsciously, like pad CU is like one of the Thai dishes that usually like has like spicy peanuts in it. If you get like some satay, they give you that little like spicy peanut dipping sauce. And then my favorite thing to order from Thai restaurants is peanut. It's like a peanut soup, like a peanut butter soup. If you ever, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head right now, but that's my favorite one. And it's just like this. It's like a peanut broth. You're like, what? I'm like, yeah, no, it really is just like liquid peanut, like a liquidier peanut butter. It's like a stew. It's amazing. And so I think subconsciously I'm just like, I got to get the spicy peanuts.
Nice.
Chaos Lord reminding everyone. Chaos Lord's Mars reminding everyone. Checking ain't nothing to fuck with. So
now, anytime you eat spicy food, it can become hard to talk. So I encourage Chat Gang to make Mephisto say as many things as possible, like Chat Gang ain't nothing to fuck with.
Oh, come on. Now you take it. You're going too far. Of course, so, Chat Gang is the show within the show. So I'm at their mercy.
Are we ready for number 1?
I think we're ready. Joanna, speak or die. Don't worry, we will save him if he gets out of control. Yeah, I think we're ready for nut number 1. And I'm trying to figure out why is Molly calling me?
Uh-oh.
You're on the Rantcast. Why are you calling me? No? Okay, thank you for checking in. Must have been about time. This is fantastic radio going on right now. Fantastic radio. All right, nut 1. Are we going for it?
Nut 1.
So this is a Carolina Reaper plus the chocolate bootla pepper, which just sounds almost delightful.
I'm getting nothing.
Tried to talk. Okay.
So
now we enter the mukbang section of the stream. You can hear me chewing and everything.
So, your partner, Molly, obviously was impacted by the charity stream. You did more than 27 hours, almost 28.
Correct.
And obviously, it basically fucked the whole weekend. So, how did she feel about that? That the whole charity stream situation, and all of the surrounding things, and how much did it help that she got to pie you as a part of it?
Well, hang on. I'm already hitting the half now. I'm in trouble.
Oh, see, I only just hit my drink because I was thirsty.
Wow.
I just want to be clear about that.
No,
like,
I get
genuinely like I could just like eat the other 2 right.
I'm in so much trouble. All right. So, no. She was supportive, right? The 28 hours. I've actually done 27-hour streams before. Or not 27. I've done 24-hour streams. Usually it was like a birthday thing, to do them. And so she's been supportive. Usually it's an event. We prepare for it months in ahead. So she knew about it before anybody else knew about it, which is like number one is you got to clear it with your partner. You share a life to them. She's going to have to carry extra weight with the kids in that time period. And the kids don't quite understand. Dad's doing a charity stream. He's doing a radio broadcast. Like, they kind of get some of that stuff. I need a bucket to swish and spit. Thanks, Marok Wolf. So we had that, like, sort of existing structure, roughly. The thing she didn't like was agreeing to the tattoo at too low of a price point. And well, that's why... Fairness, go ahead.
In fairness, whatever price point you put on it, it would have had to be something that was, like... From the outset, it would have to have sounded like an absurd stretch goal that would never happen.
Well, that's the thing, is like...
It would have had to be like 10 grand.
Yeah, yeah. But so that's the I don't know, am I allowed to elaborate on this, but you want you want donation goals to seem achievable, right? You can't out the gates, people's defeatist mentality, so they got to be achievable. And I was going off of like my sort of initial math, that like this is how many viewers I usually have. This is how much money I usually make in a whole month, right? Of rant casts.
Mm-hmm.
See, now I'm just thirsty. I hit the beer there. See, the beer helps. The beer, so good.
Yeah.
The water doesn't help, and the half and half just kind of like disperses it. So the beer is helping.
Yeah, the tricky part with the water is that it actually, if there's capsaicin oil, it actually spreads it around your mouth.
Right. But the tattoo price point was the thing that she was like, in retrospect, putting it at $5,000 should have been the amount. But that feels like absurd based on like the numbers I was putting in. And I don't think if I set it at $5,000 we hit it with as much fervor as we do, in a weird sort of way. Because we crushing that sort of $1,500 in the first block, I felt like got everybody on board and like united in doing the thing.
Yeah, it really set a tone, like how much you like collected, how quickly.
Right. And from there, everyone was just like, it's not just that like, okay, Meph's the Schadenfreude of like Meph's gonna tattoo his body, right? Ha 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 ha, and everyone's snickering. It becomes it becomes a collective. Like you're all part of something now. You're all part of a thing. It's not just like ha 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 ha. It goes further. You're all part of the thing now. And I think that helped us hit the stride hard. And then from there, it was just like, okay, now we need to have adequate and impressive things to rally behind to keep it going. That's going to be maybe not necessarily on par with like the tattoo, because that's an extreme change, right? But it's got to be rewarding in a meaningful way that people can see stuff. So like when Vince is like, hell yeah, dude, I'll paint someone in a mini, you go, that becomes a, paint dad is going to paint a model for somebody, like out of his precious time doing what he, he's going to do. That becomes like a really real physical, tangible thing that becomes in reach of everybody. And to the question that was kind of hanging in there in the periphery of what you were asking, Molly smashed the shit out of me with that pie. I think there was some latent anger over the tattoo price point. But as soon as we like started cresting all of the goals, and like I walk out the office to like get a glass of water or refill my water bottle, and I'm like, we're at like $3,000 right now. She's just like, oh, okay, like this for her. She is not really like a full on nerd. we've grown together a lot, so we've done what you do is you swap interests, and like
Yeah.
It's movies I wouldn't normally watch, like I've gained an affinity or an enjoyment for, like trash TV. Like we love Big Brother's going on right now. And this is one of our things, or it's about to go on. We love Big Brother. It's one of our, like, bonding things. I like it for, like, the weird human psychology of it. She loves it for trash drama. But we found those, like, ways that we can both enjoy this thing. And, like, knowing that she loves the thing, and this goes to Age of Sigmar. Knowing that she loves the thing, I can absorb some of her love for the thing and, like, get into it. Which is why when I have a friend who loves Nurgle or Tzeentch or dwarves or any of these armies that I'm not necessarily like, that are just not my thing, when you have a friend that loves the thing, you kind of try to see it from their perspective, and that helps you. I mean, that's empathy, right? Like building empathy, but then getting a tangible enjoyment out of empathy. But yeah, smashing me with the pie, like, I think when she had that, like, pure physical catharsis. She dealt with all of her emotions because we have a productive relationship. She dealt with all of her physical emotions over way too cheap a goal for the tattoo. She completely isn't mad about it anymore, though, because once we shattered 5,000, she's like, well, that's the price I was going to say anyway. And so it's like, now it's just like, so even if she had been right, in which she was, it should have been a $5,000 goal, she still would have been, I'd still be getting a tattoo. Like, the inevitability of Chat Gang making that all happen was inevitable. It was Thanos. Like, the Chat Gang and the coalition, as they appointed themselves, they had all the Infinity Stones. They just had to snap their fingers.
Yeah. All right. So
yeah, the heat's gone now. So yeah, it's time to punish me.
Grab this next nut out of here.
Yeah. I'm not prepared. This makes it better because you are more unfazed. Did you swig castor oil before the show, or?
No.
No. Okay. All right. I believe you. I believe you.
I just, like, when I go to a restaurant and I order wings, I usually just order whatever the spiciest thing on the menu is. So, my taste buds are, like, dead. Anyway, so.
Mine might be forever damaged from this. All right, so we're on warming up. This is the Carolina Reaper plus the Ghost Pepper. Now, I have had Ghost Pepper crap before. I really hope that this isn't. NZ Major says, Paul Conti, please have my babies. Maybe I just, like, relegate it to one side of my mouth.
Yeah, I'm not really getting anything from this one either.
This one's not as bad. Not even by a long shot. That first one hit me. And I think it's because, so the way our taste buds work is there's essentially, like, flavor bouncers on our palate. This is why salty sweet works so well, right? The flavor bouncer of salt, like, says get out the way for the delicious flavor. Right, that's what it activates. Like, it really is like square pegs and round holes. Like, our taste buds are kind of like that on a micro level, because they have, like, certain shapes. So certain things get through on different parts of your tongue. Salt gets through all of them.
Mm-hmm.
The sweet heat. And I think not trying to talk while chewing was also a good move here. But the sweetness on that first one, I think, just, like, hit wider on my palate, and so I was just, like, fucked. But this one's not as bad. It's got a lot more sting, maybe. Like I feel like almost a numbing sensation. But, like, the like, oh my god flavor heat isn't hitting me as hard.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually had anything ghost pepper before. But this is not the oh fuck ghost pepper that I was expecting.
Yeah.
So, anyway, question the second for you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Your first charity fundraiser was a couple of months ago now, probably the Black Lives Matter fundraiser we did. That was, like, basically all Twitter, right?
Yeah, it was really low key and quiet. Yeah.
Yeah. and you raise like over $1,000 for that. You do this 27-hour rantathon. You raise over $7,000. The question is, what is next in your philanthropy? And what is your cause?
I think I'm going to stick. Mental health has always been my cause. Mental health visibility has been part of my message. Pardon me. My message from early on. I think I'm going to stick with that. I need to. When I didn't intend to do the Black Lives Matter charity drive. Really big props to Dave. You see him as GDED in your chat there. He's one of the more Tarks of Meth, one of my patrons. He wanted to sponsor, like, he knew about the Rantathon and he wanted to sponsor like a gift for that type thing. He's like going to send me a Star Collecting box. And he ended up actually sending me 2 Star Collecting boxes of Nurgle and a bunch of KO. So big props to him. But when George Floyd got killed, as many people know, I'm from a biracial family. Like, I grew up in North Carolina, Camp Lejeune. My mom, white woman, engaged to a black man. Had one kid with him, and then eventually had a second black brother with a different, fatherly figure. Right. It was a very real part of my life growing up, witnessing hate towards somebody for their skin tone. There was a memory that is ingrained in my mind where the first time I processed that we had been like literally jumped, right? Walking to school. Like, I kind of processed, the kids are bullying me, and like I'm probably about 7 years old. Why are the kids bullying me? Why do they hate me? Right. And my mom said, Andrew, you see your brother, some people just see his skin. It stuck in my mind probably way too young. When you come from a family like I got way too many life lessons way too early, and it's weird because I was like really awesome until I was like late teens, and then it just all fell apart. Then all of the weight of all my problems hit me. But like for a while, I was the adult, I was the oldest brother, I was the man of the house, I was all those things. So I elevated my maturity level. But my mom said that to me, and it wasn't until like kind of later I recognized that like the hate that visited to my brother wasn't at me. Like where you're like, why am I getting hurt? Why are we getting hurt? You kind of go to yourself first. And for a while, at some point I quantified and I was able to like put together that like, it has a lot to do with the fact that my mom lost me to foster care. So I lost us all, by the way, not just me. Then we all got lost to the foster care system. My grandma comes down to North Carolina and finds out we've been now we're going into our 3rd foster care home. And she comes down and she just scoops us all up and she brings us back to Minnesota, which is where she lived at the time. And I had this like, so this is where I'm approaching my teen years. And I have this jarring moment where I realize that like when I'm not near him, the hate's not happening. I get to be, I get to just mask, I get to be free. And he has his own struggles because he is biracial, and there's within like some communities, it's like that you're not black enough to be with the black people and you're not white enough to be with white people. And so he has his own like takes on this, and I'm not going to talk for him, but like we've discussed stuff like this. But it just this moment where I'm like, I get all my like, I get to like hide again in plain sight. And for me, it forced this empathy, but you got to keep in mind there's this racial hate and prejudice, and I've been able to translate that through like all of the different like sort of like social marginalized like individuals and stuff like that, because I go, this is how it felt like here, what do I think they feel, and how do I think it is if you're hated for this, that, and the other thing. It helped me grow, but it was always from a visceral point. So my knee-jerk reaction will always be a very visceral one to racism. You get me at my most emotional when that happens. It's right. because I mean it just goes all the way back to just the 7-year-old kid who was just getting the crap kicked out of him because he happened to be in this family that looked a certain way. And all I felt was love for my family. I don't even call my brother or my sister half siblings. I don't believe in that crap, because how do you half relate to... You're related to them. They're your family. I have people that I consider family now that I'm not blood related to. You know, like, family to me isn't you're just purely like how many chromosomes you share with somebody or whatever. Like, but I always have this visceral thing. And so when I watch George Floyd die, I mean, if you watch the video, and I don't recommend you do this because it really is like talking about mental health. It's not good for your mental health. Watching that happen for me.
And honestly, I did not watch it. I have not watched the video.
It's weird. It's like it's there's a... I mean, people talk about the car wreck you can't look away from. This is worse than that.
Yep.
I felt a light go out inside of me. And I snapped. I flipped out on Twitter. I blew up on Facebook. My brand account, like, I shared pictures of me and my brothers. Like, you know, like, just like, I'm not okay with this is all I said. I lost it. I had no idea how to I don't live in a major populous center, so I can't take to the streets and march and, you know, solidarity. I can stand on the corner with a sign, and people just keep driving by like they don't give a crap in this town. It's small. It's small and old. Yeah. They don't care. And I'm like, I was lashing out. I'm like, I need to do something. I need to do anything at all. And enter David saying, hey, man, here's I'll do a start collecting box for the Rantathon. And I'm like, I'm thinking about doing a charity drive for this. And he's like, use it for that. And he's like, I'll do a box of choice for anybody if they donate to your cause. And it wasn't about grandstanding. I didn't say like and subscribe to my post. I didn't say follow me on Twitter. I didn't fucking say any of that. I actually got a bunch of shit for my YouTube video that I put up just so that I could, because you can't say it all in the amount of characters. So I tried to release a video that like said, hey, this is all what I'm feeling and this is why I'm doing this. Because I want to do something, because the world, it's the Dr. Horrible sing-along blog. He says, because the world's a mess and I just got to rule it. You know, like the status is not quo. I want to make the world a better place, and if I have the tiniest platform, I'm going to try to use it for good. So I wasn't going to use it to grandstand. Games Workshop didn't do their goodbye post yet and trigger he who will not be named. Like, they didn't do that yet. I was lashing out, and then I watched, of all people, Killer Mike from Run the Jewels. He did his speech in Georgia, and when he said what he said, he opens his statement with, I don't want to be here right now. Getting up, crying, and the police chief, who's like a friend, and like the whole community gets up there, and he put together how much I wanted to see the world burn. Like, how much I'm like, burn the system down, destroy it all, let's start over, V for Vendetta, drive the train into Parliament, end it, and start again, because it's not fair and it's not okay. And when he said all that, but then he also had this message of community, of support, of voice your stuff, but don't hurt each other, because that doesn't help us either. I'm like, this is what I need to do. I need to do something proactive and productive rather than destructive. Because bad people gonna bad, but like, most people are good. I truly believe this. Or at least they're not bad or good. They're just kind of a little bit lazy and mostly unplugged from what's going on. Like, their lives, they live lives of quiet desperation, just trying to get by. And I get that. You worry about you and yours and so on and so forth. But a lot of people want to help, they just don't know how. And
Yep.
And that's what it was, is like, I'm going to give people a how. Does that answer the question? Oh, no, I guess I gotta tie it back together to the main point. I'm sticking with the MHA cause because, again, that was a visceral reaction. I assure you I will continue to do that every time, because race issues will always be a visceral reaction from me. I will continue to do stuff like that. But the MHA response, the fact that it's always what I started with, it was always my intent. That not only did I share, like, I hope that people knowing me and who I am will help them become more aware of race issues and that things need to be fixed and stuff. I really, because I'm never gonna hide that. I'm never gonna like mince my words. If you're racist, like, like, fuck you. But most people aren't intentionally a piece of shit. Like, and if you tell them they're a piece of shit, they're just gonna recoil from you and never see your side. So I hope, again, that's that community side. But the MHA thing, like, we all struggle with it. The fact that, like, we see all these things wrong in society, like, people getting killed that just shouldn't be and stuff like that. Like, it hits our mental health too. I feel like if we feel better up here, then we can feel better inside here. I pointed to my head and then to my heart. We feel better inside our hearts. We'll treat others better too. And so I just think that it's this umbrella issue that if we can help fix people's heads, we can help change the world. So it's a bigger visible cause. I think that they go hand in hand. Why do I react viscerally to racism? Because I got the crap kicked out of me. It's my mental health is always is altered forever because of what I experienced. I'm happy with who I am. I don't get me wrong. I'm happy where I ended up. But I think you need to unite people, and I think it's a great cause. And I just have 2 words for next year. Rant House.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
So Rantathon, but like a whole house.
I see. Like having your guests in person, or some of them.
Like having a retreat we go to. Somebody has already volunteered their domicile. And the one thing I thought was missing from the Rantathon was seeing actual games of Warhammer going on in the background. So if you look, we kind of got like essentially a 3-screen layout right now. Imagine if, like, in the lower right-hand side, instead of seeing the next peanut I'm about to suffer, Carolina plus the 7-pot brain strain peppers, if instead of that, you see Warhammer happening, and we like check back in with a person on the floor, and then we can rotate in some physical guests and stuff. So
that would be very cool. I like it. That's a good next step.
Yeah.
And hopefully, along with that, we can double, triple.
Oh no! I think this is a perfect storm. I think this is I couldn't conceive of hitting these goals again next year, but I am going to start out at the 5,000 Molly told me I should have started out at. So I don't think I'll tattoo my body, but like maybe a mohawk we'll figure it out. We've got plenty of time to plan it. I know some people were talking about tables of terrain. So we got an army, like tables of terrain, like here you go. You have a table with all the terrain. Run a tournament if you win, something like that. Some more custom model pieces. People have responded. I can't do this without others. Nobody gets where they are without other people. I know we like to think like I worked hard, I ground my way all the way to the top, yada yada yada. I'm like, yeah, but you had help along the way. I did every day. There was Molly pieing me in the face, or watching our kids a little bit longer while I yell into the screen at nobody for like 7 years until eventually, I found it. My audience found me. So here we are.
Yeah. All right. So are we ready for the next nut? Our Carolina Reaper plus 7-pot brain strain.
I don't like the name already. It's like I don't want to. I need my brain. It's my best quality. Well, 4th best quality. All right. All right.
Are you ready? Let's do it. Got some kick out of that one.
I was afraid to swallow it because I'm like, they're all hitting in different parts of my mouth.
So you did a 27-hour plus live stream. What was the most difficult part of doing that?
I don't like where that's hitting.
We're only halfway home. Remember.
It was the logistics, the scheduling. All the complications happened with scheduling. It was. I was balancing 3 continents. More than 14 guests. It was 14 slots, right? Being able to have reliable content in that span, because you can go back and watch every 2-hour clip. Whew.
Yeah, it comes back a little bit.
Yeah, that one bounced back. Woo!
Yeah. We've got a little bit of rebound going on.
I was fine at first. And I swallowed. And I think it's because it's not whatever food follicles. They didn't hit the front of the tongue. They're all at the back. Woo! Oh, beer saved me. Whose idea was this?
You had people on from 3 continents.
Yeah.
And some crazy number of time zones. I know you definitely had UK. You had Australia.
Canada, I think, was in there. Uh-oh. I'm in a lot of pain right now. Ah. He's calculated the heat. Yeah, he knows. He knew. I don't know, fam. Whew. 2 more. You there, Paul? He's logging back in. Yeah, his peanut was too powerful. It broke the internet. Beer. Yeah, the actual Death Nut Challenge could not do. Without beverages and stuff, I think I'd be done it too. The power of Paul's nut always rolls boxcars. Well, I'm sorry that there's going to be dead air right now. But I need to go get more beverage. I'm running out. Ha! Nothing will save me.
Hello. Well, it appears that I'm back. Mr. Mephisto appears to have left us, and I don't know what's going on. In the meantime, I will continue to entertain Cat Gang, because that is what I do best, apparently. So my call dropped, or froze, or something, and I had to go like out and back in again. So here I am. I hope you're all enjoying this so far. I know I always like watching Meth put nuts in his mouth. It is delightful. Do, do, do. I wish I could actually see Chat Gang right now. I can't. I really should have thought about that ahead of time. I am just running this off of my phone at the moment, so I've got nothing going on. So I just have to sort of guess at what Chat Gang may be saying or doing. I'm gonna just guess and thank somebody for gift subscriptions. That seems like a thing that probably would have happened recently. So shout out to whoever did that. If you haven't yet, then you should. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, thanks for the subscription. Yep, and donating bits. Oh, look at these people donating the bits. Where the hell did Meth go? Hello?
Hey, Paul, it's me, your friend, Frank, from Chat Gang. Mephisto went to get some drinks.
All right.
Oh,
All right, you're back.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Oh, I am not okay. Two more to go.
Oh, he's breaking out the tissues.
Captain, my captain, Frank stepped off. I had to go get more beer. Ooh. Thank you so much for that subscription there, Num One. Oh no, I see. Marok Wolf popped off with 10 more gift subs. Enjoy the emotes, everybody. See, that's the thing is, like, I'll let you get back to it, and I'll catch back up on what's going on. But see, Mad Lad W. Soren kind of Rantcast and all this stuff doesn't really exist without him. I mean, there's so many people that contributed to what's going on right now, or not what's going on, but like where we're at. Oh, now we got the tissue out.
Yeah, you gonna cry? You gonna squirt some?
Yeah, I'm gonna cry. There's so much crying. There's so many people that like kind of donated to get, not donated. So many people that were here for this whole stream, this whole thing, getting it to where it is. And Mad Lad was a huge part of that. Like, we didn't hit our emote goals without him practically single-handedly. The reason I've maxed out on the amount of emotes you can have as an affiliate is he almost single-handedly did that. But he's got some personal stuff going on right now, like life getting in the way. And he's like, dude, I'm sorry, but I can't, I'm not going to be able to donate in the same level. I'm like, first off, dude, it's already probably way too much. But the thing is there's a whole community there. I think about the Firefly quote, when you can't run, you crawl. And when you can't crawl anymore, you find someone to carry you. That's what, like, I mean, we're just a microcosm of the Age of Sigmar community. Like, we carry each other when we need it. Like it, and so Marok Wolf now carrying the Mad Lad a little bit, or not the Mad Lad, but the donation or the gift sub. Yes, the spice is hitting the brain now. It's in the brain. I'm talking words hard.
What I think is actually really cool about the Age of Sigmar community that we have is that there's also like a content creator community. And like the thing that, maybe some of the viewers are not really aware of, like all of like the different YouTube personalities and Twitch personalities, like we're basically all friends. Like we all chat with each other on a regular basis for the most part.
Yeah, except Haywo, so, our rivalry is well known. No, I mean he's like literally my best friend. Yeah. Yeah, continue your point. I just tried to be quippy.
It's and there's but like from what I've found, like there are like these groups of people kind of here and there that are like these great tight knit communities within Age of Sigmar, where it's just like this crew from this particular area, and they've got like their continuous chat going on, whether it's like a Facebook Messenger group chat or Discord or whatever medium they're using. But they have like their community that they're constantly in touch with, and it really becomes like we all meet and play this game, but like we all end up kind of being involved in each other's lives more deeply than that.
Right.
And we all support each other.
Right. Well, and that's I mentioned, like, I don't think of it, in writing. It is said. I mean, Ernest Hemingway has a very famous quote, like, writing is competitive. Like, you don't, like, if I get published, someone else isn't getting published, and so on and so forth. I don't think of the Age of Sigmar content creator community as competitive. I think of it as one massive collaboration. Even if I disagree with, Vince on a take or Haywell. People don't realize it, but like we have differing opinions, like, on some stuff, and like we kind of bounce ideas off of each other, and like like so it's like we do a lot of that chat off stream and stuff, but we've had a few episodes on here where we have different perspectives. Like, when a content creator in the Age of Sigmar community says something, I don't feel malice toward them. I just like go, oh, like something for me to talk about, like, and so then I have like, and I think that helps. Also, what you talked about, like, with the different communities, like, sort of like I mean, obviously I'm like a Midwesterner, so I kind of like, I tend to gravitate towards like that Midwestern like crew is like sort of a default. But like, I make it a point to like talk to people, and especially when I go to a tournament like that's more national than regional, like Gen Con, to like go out of my way to go talk to like people that are just sort of outside of that like initial circle, because one, you never know when you're gonna see them again, and two, it like, you don't want to be in that feedback loop of content. Like, I love having Ian on, like, Ian from Just Saying, a Just Play podcast. I love having Ian on the show because this is somebody that started out at like sort of the same point I did on the TGA forums. We started having our conversations right around like the LON Battletome came out, but we have two different like angles we're like approaching the book at. And so one of the most fascinating things, and they're like a competitive first sort of like type of podcast. They've said some stuff that's had some controversy, and so like. But, like, why do I love talking to him so much? It's, like, because he has a different perspective. I see where we align, like, but then I get to, like, appreciate my own perspective because, like, the contrast with his. Or like, because we do have that, like, sort of resonance, I can shift my stance a lot more readily than I can if it's just somebody I'm directly opposed to at all times, or, like, like, if I fundamentally disagree with you about something, then it's really hard for me to ever come around to your side. I mean, that's not entirely true. I'm wired a little bit differently than the average person, but not like smugly. I mean, like, I'm not as fixed in my own opinions. I'm really interested in like having an opinion, and constructing opinion is more fun for me than having the right opinion. Does that make sense?
I'm totally. Like, I think there's something like really interesting just in the process of constructing ideas,
yes,
putting different things together,
yes,
and then stress testing those ideas.
Yes.
Not to get into like out of left field sort of things, but like I do that with like social political sort of ideas as well all the time. Like I would much rather listen to something that I disagree with to either, one, maybe they'll change my mind, or two, well, if I disagree with them and I still disagree with them after listening to something or watching something that is of good quality, well, at least my argument's going to be better now. Now I have like another thing to hone my argument. Uh-oh, I'm losing your audio. Or maybe it's just me losing audio. It's like the universe doesn't want you to eat these nuts. Nope. Okay. Yeah. So I think in general, doing your research in life is a good thing. And now that we all have the internet, we can all do our research. And which can be kind of a stupid thing sometimes. People just reinforcing their own opinions. But like one of the things in Age of Sigmar that I've been trying to do over this summer is read all the battle tokens.
All right, I should be back now.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah,
to your own show.
Yeah, thank you.
I think you're just delaying eating this next nut.
I think that's what it is. We're to answer a question there from Chat Gang. We're going into nut 4 and nut 3. It hit me hard. I had to walk around and refill all of the beverages. Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm just like bored.
Yeah, he's over here like honestly we couldn't have a better dynamic though. Like you got to have the person who's just like keeping their shit together.
Well, and what's going great is that like this is going just like Hot Ones. It's like Sean on Hot Ones is always like barely affected by the sauce.
I don't think he's eating the same sauces. I think I really don't. No. Like I am not like a spice guru by any means. I'm not one of those people who can just like handle his spice. But like I start at like at Buffalo, like hot. Like that's where I start. And then I go up from there. But like that's I don't like spicy for the sake of spicy, which is oddly enough, these nuts aren't just like only burning. They have flavor, which is like
they taste good. Yeah.
What's blowing my mind. But some hot like sauces, they try to do is go for a burn. They don't care about like the flavor. And so like I usually start out.
The bomb is so ridiculous. Like it burns a lot and it tastes bad.
Yeah, just get out. Yeah, but I actually love that like that I like the vinegary deliciousness of like a true hot sauce. Like I love that like flavor.
Yes.
Like that's why I hate Tabasco sauce because they engineered they have a patent on the Tabasco pepper. It's a different pepper. Which this isn't unheard of, like patenting a gene strand that you've like refined over time with like awesome food science, whatever. But like I don't like the taste.
Patenting genes, it's it's just America.
Yeah, that's just that. Yeah, that's what we do here. But like the thing is, it doesn't taste good. The Tabasco pepper sucks. It doesn't taste good. Like it tastes like crap. So I use a lot of the Louisiana as my de facto is like that Louisiana hot sauce. I use a lot of that, and I use a lot of Frank's Red Hot. Now I know that Frank's Red Hot is contentious because it's not spicy, but it's got that vinegary like that I love. Yeah.
It's got just enough spice to it, and like I just love the vinegar.
It's like my ketchup.
Yep.
Yeah. Cholula's good. Cholula's got that like because it's got a really like chili quality to it that I like a chili pepper quality to it that I enjoy. Cholula's not bad. Yeah. I'm being attacked on stream. Or the poor pepper is being attacked on stream. All right. Did you ask me a question for 3? I think you did. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was asking you
what was the hardest part of the stream. Yeah, and I said the scheduling aspect. The technical difficulties weren't as bad. We've had a couple here. We had a few on like the ones we had here. We kind of had a rantcast people guest dropping and stuff. That's just like par for the course, and that's why I usually had redundant guests. Like how like more than one guest, so that like if one did drop, we could have like others in and out and stuff like that.
Right.
And the close was just to kind of like tie a bow on all this. The close was hard. When I was supposed to be a personality still and like talking and directing conversation, I was just doing math and double checking to make sure that we didn't have like multiple double entries because my CSV file, some of the earlier miscommunications with like how to enter the giveaway caused some like issues way down the line. The thing is like, you kind of gotta do it to stress test it. Like, there's a reason you can have all the best theories in the world about your army in Age of Sigmar, but you still got to get it on the table to like stress test it, right? And
yeah,
a 27-hour marathon out of nowhere that got 7 times the amount of money I thought I was going to get. I really think we did a good job. And again, the hardest part was on the scheduling. I had so much help and did so much effort or did so much work before I even went live that a lot of the stuff kind of took care of itself once it was going. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. So are you ready for nut number 4?
Not ready, but willing. Okay, to put these nuts in my mouth. G-Dead says Meth needed an Excel guy. Yes, I needed an Excel guy.
That's why you should have had me on.
Math Hammer? Well, you were on.
Yeah, but you needed me in that block to do it for you.
Yeah.
That one's got some good flavor to it. I like it.
How's your peanut?
But Meth obviously can't talk right now. You all right, buddy?
I know it's going to do what 3 did.
So, question the 4th. What, you know, it's hard to pick, you know, your favorite child, but we all know that we have. So what was your favorite 2-hour segment out of the Rantcast, or out of the Rantathon?
You have children? Do you have more than one? I know you have, like, at least one.
I have 2.
That's a hard question. I'll tell you the most unexpected one while I play for time a little bit here. I had the In Your Face guys on.
Yeah, who I'm not familiar with. I need to, if you have that segment up, I'm going to have to go watch it.
It's up. Oh, sweet whiskey.
Oh, we're moving on to hard liquor now.
So, that's the Best Coast Pairings crew.
Garrett. So, like, Garrett.
Yeah. Garrett Mulroney.
I actually played against Garrett at the last GT I attended.
Yeah, that's Garrett. That's other Alex G. So there is the Alex G, which is the Alex in my area, and there's Pretty Alex G, as Jacob Berry calls him. Or West Coast Alex G, but depending on where you are, you have your Alex G, right? And then you have the French overlord as well, Jeremy, whose last name I won't even attempt to pronounce because it's French. They are hard, competitive, lean players. Okay? I went into the windpipe. It's over, son.
Oh, my wife is, I just saw the text message pop up. My wife is yelling at me that I shouldn't have a favorite child. We all know we do.
We do.
We all have a favorite
We
one.
do. You just don't admit it.
You can't say it out loud, but everybody does.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway, it wasn't, I wouldn't say my favorite segment. I'm playing for time here, but it was the most unexpected one because they have the competitive app for competitive gaming. right? Where you measure how competitive you are on a system with numbers. We talked lore for 2 hours. We
So
talked
let me tell you
exclusively lore for 2 hours, and Jeremy threw shade at me because he wanted like the full Mephisto, right? Which, like Tropic Thunder, we know that you never go full meth. Like he wanted like the full spicy take. Like I've had some spicy ones, but like
just like now.
literally, this is the hottest Age of Sigmar show ever. Scientifically speaking. Whew, I'm fucking losing it, and you're just like stoic. This is amazing. Can't even.
Yes.
I can't. Half the whiskey's gone, all my beer, and most of the. Why? How?
Dude, I told you, I've already burned my taste buds off. This is like everybody, like even you just said it. Like Sean on Hot Ones is like, oh, he must have different wings. Like, no, he just fucking does this all the time. Like his taste buds are gone. He's used to this.
All right, you were about to tell me your favorite segment, so we can play for time more while I ruminate.
Well, what I would say first is, I had the pleasure of playing against Garrett at Du Bois in 2019, and not only is he a fantastic dude, he was playing a beautifully painted Sylvaneth army, and had measuring sticks that were like these beautiful wood measuring sticks to measure out like 9 inches away when he was going to set guys up. That, like, you know, they were like custom wood ones to match with his Sylvaneth army.
Right.
So from that, I would have guessed like yeah, this guy made an app, but yeah, I could see him talking for 2 hours about lore. That seems about right.
That's the thing is like I think the greatest lie in the Age of Sigmar community is that like there are competitive players and there are narrative players and there are hobbyists. I think that is that's practically half of why my show exists, is to kind of like be an ambassador and break down the barriers, because you know, if all you care about is competition, you're probably going to play a different game, you know. And this isn't the like go play chess take. I mean, there are plenty of like amazing games across the world. You're in Age of Sigmar because friends, community, right? You're in it because like you're looking at two equally great games, competitively speaking, or one's got the competitive edge. Even you're like, oh, I don't know, War Machine. I've never played War Machine, but I've heard that War Machine had better rules or whatever. Okay, fine. So I'm just gonna, for argument's sake, we'll say it's War Machine is the more competitive game. But then you come and play Age of Sigmar because your tiebreakers are aesthetics and lore, the fluff, right? Like you have a nostalgia attachment from the world that was, your favorite character's still around, whatever it is. People aren't in tiny boxes. Okay, hang on real quick. When the heat passes, there is a pronounced moment, and it's a fantastic sensation. It's like this weird, like it goes beyond taste. Like it's like the fourth dimension of flavor. Once you get past the heat, like once you get past like the burning and stuff like that, you're just in the heat dimension, and like it's like your third eye opens of taste buds. It's amazing. So that just happened. That nut, like it finally passed.
Yeah.
But anyway, like the greatest lie is these three boxes. And so to hear what are essentially... I cut you off. Continue. Do your point.
Yeah. But you asked the question what my favorite segment was, and I have to say it was Halo's Circus Peanut Story. That was amazing. And and I just have to say in general, like, I love Halo.
Yes.
I love him so much more when he's on somebody else's channel and he's like off script and he's just like when he's just like
flowing. He's got like that flow state going on, and he's
Yeah.
just got like the jokes and the sarcasm and the stories, and it like he needs to do more of that.
So you mentioned like hard parts of the stream and stuff. This wasn't hard, but this was it was a setback or something that didn't go to plan, which is embarrassing stories. So initially, Tom was supposed to be on that segment, and I figured Tom would have a great story. But Vince is the joke is that Vince is a robot, right? Like he's just a robot who's built in the future, sent back in time to teach us all how to paint. Like, and so like he did like a worldly sort of like life teaching moment, which, you know, like, oh, don't feel embarrassed, you know, it's a moment of growth, and he this really great like life moment rather than like an embarrassing tale. But what was originally designed as was like probably get something like of levity from Vince and then get like something silly from Tom and get to see Tom when Tom doesn't have to be the Tom Lyons of Warhammer Weekly. When you meet Tom in person, he's not just this hard-nosed like only cares about this and, you know, that's trash and that's a trap and blah blah. He's one of the most pleasant guys you'll ever personally deal with. Like, one of my favorite things, like one of my favorite rantcasts to this day is the one with him and Chuck Moore talking like LRL, like pre-LRL and commiserating over COVID lockdown, because that's when it was all kind of fresh for everybody. Like one of the best episodes of my show, I think you'll see is that episode, because you get to see Tom not have to be Tom playing off of Vince. You know, you get to see just Tom be Tom. And Vince does a great job. Like, he is just like the content whisperer, because he can just rein in any guest. He's just like, he is Neo. Like, anytime, if you're on his show, like, I was so surprised to not get show notes from Vince the first time I was on Warhammer Weekly. I'm like, there's no show notes? I'm just gonna, huh? I give people show notes, and the joke is that I never take notes. You know, like, it's not show notes. I give bullet points of like, hey, ABC, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, right? Like, no, man, we'll wing it. I'm like, what? I'm winging it with the most intimidating show in the Age of Sigmar community? And, like, because Vince is such a master of, like, managing that, like, energy and the takes, and, like, Vince knows everything he wants to say over the course of the whole episode. Like, he knows what he's going to say, and he's always going to rein it back into the point he's trying to make. Look at the AOS stats episode he just did. He knew what point he wanted to make, and he just had all this great data to share on this journey to get to the point. It was amazing. It was masterful. Masterful. And Tom was the poignant, like, contextualizing, blah, blah, blah. So, like, initially when I set that goal of embarrassing stories, it was like, okay, we're going to push, and then, like, people are going to get to hear an embarrassing story from Vince and Tom. Ha, ha, ha. Like, the greatest, you know, good comedy punches up. It doesn't get more up than Vince and Tom. And so you're just like, that was the expectation. And then Tom cancels, whatever. You know, it happens. We are parents. We all have lives. You know, the least important thing in your life is probably my show every week. And it should be, by the way. That's what makes it fun, because it's not important. You get to listen to it and just enjoy it. That's why it's fun. And then Joe comes on. Hey, well, I'm like, because I'm just like, hey, well, man, help me, you know, like, do this and blah blah blah. Like, and he comes on, and so you get this levity point from Vince, this life lesson. And then you get the circus peanut story. And it was just, it's quite frankly, it saved my ass from a bad donation incentive that could have kind of, like, set the show back, I think. If that, like, I won't be doing embarrassing stories as a milestone ever again. Like, it was, like, but it was like, I'm like, this was like the air pressure is out and the masks drop down from the ceiling, the airplane's going down type moment of the show for me. And then you have, like, hey, well, Vince, hey, levity point. Yeah. And then I'm like, no, and then I'm just like, Joe, it is time. The circus peanut story. And, like, I've heard the story. You have to understand. I know most of the punchlines and I know where the story's going, right? But even so, I've never heard that story, like, with the same, like, it's just, it's his cadence. He could say the same thing, and it's different and funny every time, because, like, he pitches his vowels a little bit different in that segment. He does up the sign, which is it really, like, if you've driven that stretch of road, this sign is there. Like, he, like, literally, it's there. But, like, he just, like, he focuses on the sign a little bit more if he's got the audience's attention on that. Like, he is masterful. Like, amazing. And so it was like, I'm like, way to, like, for the third time over the course of that whole show, you'll see that he bailed my ass out. Which was there at the end. And the baked-in one, which was I was going to take a 30-minute nap during his segment. Because, and that worked out. Actually, by the way, I stayed there on my phone the whole time, so it was like cheating, but to like stretch my legs and go around and not be on the camera, for that, to not have to be on for that, like that block was a really, like, I think that's why I ended so much stronger than I did. I mentioned the birthday streams. I've done 24-hour birthday streams. I have been a wreck every single one of them I've ever done. I was not wrecked after this. I mean, I was losing my faculties because I'd been up for like 32 hours by the end of it or something like that. But there was so much preparation the whole way that I drank tons of water. Chuck coming on with his fitness invasion, like Haywo letting me like just be off stream for 2 hours. About an hour I think is what it ended up being. All that, like, just making this all work was like a super big deal. But we've played for enough time. I think I know what my favorite one was. Doctor's Block. Honorable mention to the Basement of Death crew, the Playing and Slaying block, because it's Wisco, they're drinking. I even had a beer with them, even though like drinking and 24-hour streams just do not mix. And Reading the Room was like really good. But it was the Doctor's Block, and I'm going to go egotistical with this, because this is something that is kind of uniquely Rantcast. Like, the Doctor's Block and bringing on doctors of Rantcast and, like, joking about they're a doctor, you have to believe their take. That whole joke, that goes back to, like, episode, like, 16 of Rantcast. You know, like, when Alex Milonis came on and I did the first, like, I brought him on. He is a doctor in the psychology field of anxiety, specialized in anxiety specifically, and taught the message of mindfulness and you're taking care of yourself, that we layered in from the very beginning of Rantcast, kind of with Alex helping, and then the rolling joke of Doctor, if you've ever seen Spies Like Us with Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase. That whole joke, it was just me making my own Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase joke. So for me, it's like it's my favorite block, my favorite child, if you will, because I made it. Everything else, it's not that I didn't have a hand in it, but I'm like, this is a setup to a punchline I set up like a year ago. Is the Doctor block. And so that felt really special and fun for me.
Nice. All right. So, are you ready for number 5? So,
is anyone ready for number 5?
I don't know if this happened to you, but all of my little pouches had 3 in them, except the last one had 4 for some reason.
Yeah.
So, because I have OCD and I like to even things out.
Yeah.
I'm taking 2 nuts to the face for the last round.
Okay.
And it's kind of like, the last dab. You can feel free.
No.
Maybe a little bit of a tradition around here.
No, I'll finish off the half and half. That'll be the last dab. I'll chug the half and half. Paul is taking 2 nuts. Nice. Double barrel. So just for transparency's sake, I've had for the most part I've had about 3 nuts, but you can see the final chamber is activated. I had 3 nuts in there. There's the third where
So this is QX Carolina Reaper, Moruga Scorpion, and 13 million Scoville capsaicin crystals. Are you ready?
No. I'm looking at it and it looks like a hot nut.
Are you ready for the question that's going to come along with this?
I can't imagine this. You've been teasing me with this for a while here. This is I don't know, man. All right. Ready or not. And our ad sponsors, and blah, 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 blah. That's where you do a tease, right? Like you would do a commercial break and lick them.
I just put the nuts in your mouth.
All right, put the nuts in your mouth. All right, let's go. Minimum pants, reminding everyone checking, ain't nothing to fuck with. Here we go, bottoms up.
So, there was a lesson learned. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. It's got some burn to it. All right. So, there was a lesson that you had to learn throughout the stream. So, if you could reiterate for us, why exactly was Petrifex Elite overpowered and in need of a nerf? And why was the nerf that we got the correct one?
My tonsils are burning.
This one does have some burn to it. I will admit that. I got a little bit of feel a little mist in the eyes.
I need more beer.
And chat gang, I'd like to point out that I just ate 2 of those nuts and he ate 1, and I'm here chatting with you guys. He's over there drinking beers, taking his headphones off, taking a lap. I'm keeping it together. I'm the champion. Maybe I'm just used to putting hot nuts in my mouth. Maybe.
1 second. No, okay.
Oh, fantastic. I love it. I am wishing I had a little more gin, though. I have hit the button. Hit the bottom. Oh, chat gang. How are you doing? So, yeah, this is the first nut that I'm really actually, like, feeling. I'm a little misty, a little warm. Really do wish I had some more gin to take the edge off of this. Something about it does kind of create like a little bit of a vomitous sort of feeling. I think it might just be the way that it makes your mouth water. 'Cause it's making my mouth water in the same way that my mouth waters like if I'm about to throw up. And I think it's just coincidental that it happens to be doing that. But unlike some people, I am keeping it together. I'm talking here so we don't have dead air. We do have an empty Mephisto chair. But I think
Okay.
I think he's just dodging the question.
Okay, this is the first one where I had to physically spit. Ha!
You know, I've got to be honest. This is about the level of spiciness that I was expecting to start at.
I hate you so much right now. I was not throwing up. If I was throwing up, I would have done it on camera because you know how good it would have made my views right now?
Yeah.
Oh. Shotgun the rest of the packet, Paul. Come on.
Well, I mean, I need to keep the rest of these around for entertainment purposes. I have other friends that fancy themselves spicy food people, so I'm gonna have to do this challenge with others.
Oh, you've been wiping.
Your
Yeah.
eyes are bloodshot. Like your eyes are red.
You're sweaty.
Do you need the half and half?
It's all gone.
You drank the half and half.
Yeah, all of it's gone. Just beer now.
You need some milk?
Yeah. Milk. Please, whole milk. If we have it still.
We do.
You have all of the whole milk.
Ah, this is actually giving us a very nice shot of that hat.
Thank you.
So, would you care to explain to us why Petrifex Elite needed the nerf? And why this was the right nerf? Why it was overpowered? Could you do that for us?
You want kayfabe math or non-kayfabe math? I can't say my own name anymore.
I don't know the difference, so whichever one is more honest.
I don't think I've ever seen you this way, Andrew.
You've never seen me taking 13 million Scoville heat units to the face?
It's very, it's more the, I don't know what to do with myself. Like,
I just took 13 million with a smile.
you just have this,
This is
I
great.
just don't know what to do with myself, and I've never seen you like that. Enjoy.
I hate you.
And just to be clear, everyone, we did eat the same thing. We have, the same package.
Pain is temporary.
But the Petrifex Elite nerf is forever.
No. So, who's Sasha Grey?
Sasha Grey. I feel like Sasha Grey's a porn star.
Sounds like it. Says Sasha Grey would have blushed taking those nuts to the face.
Unbelievable!
Oh yeah, definitely a porn star with that.
There's your swish and spit, everybody. I'm okay. Great radio right now.
I mean, it's awesome TV.
Real talk. That is true. Pardon me.
How many beers in are you right now? 4 beers.
4 over the course of the show. A whole quart of half and half, and 1 whiskey mixer. But my whiskey mixers are basically just mostly whiskey with a splash of Coke. And half a glass of water, because water is a trap. You don't want to do the water like to start, but to rehydrate and recover from all this other shit I'm putting in my body. Whew. You're a son of a bitch, Paul, says Joanna.
That's what I do. I am nothing if not a giant asshole.
Alright, so why was the Petrifex Elite nerf deserved the right change? And right, it was deserved because people don't want to get good at Age of Sigmar, and now maybe they'll shut the hell up long enough for me to kick their ass and teach them that they just weren't playing the table to begin with. But they'll shut up, so is the correct change.
So what's the real answer? I see it's causing you physical pain.
Oh yeah, it's a
To
problem.
admit that Defense Elite needed to be nerfed.
You're an asshole. Oh, it hurts so bad. No, the real answer.
You know, I've never done the spiciest wings at Buffalo Wild Wings before, and now I think I'm ready.
Yeah, you gotta go. Yeah. The real answer, it really is what's called a disassembly. So you present a solution to a problem. It doesn't need to be the right solution, but the perception of the problem is greater than the problem. Okay, this is a reality. Okay, this happens in politics near constantly, right? Like wealth gap or Social Security fund running out or whatever it is, right? There is problem, and problem exists, and problem is real. Okay, so Petrifex Elite as a problem existed. Problem is real. You propose a solution that addresses problem, but it is not the solution or the best solution. It is just a solution. And what happens is you combat the perception of the problem, because perception is so often everything in life, in politics, in games. It is so hard to shift someone's perspective without doing something drastic, right? You really have to, do something that just snaps people out of whatever fixed point they're in from their perspective. Now, I love the joke, and I don't even remember who made it at this point, that, there were two levers on the wall. One of them said nerf the rend, one of them said nerf the save. And they walked over and they grabbed the one that said nerf the rend and they pulled it. And then, the tape fell off and it said nerf the save underneath it, they just had taped over. Now, this is where the patch notes are a big, big deal. Okay? The patch notes said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but they said, we changed the army while keeping the core strength intact. Meaning they changed the save while keeping the core strength, the rend, intact. Now, I approached the game, pardon me, and my army and everything from a pretty wide perspective. I try to look at rules and fluff and flavor. One of the things, actually, Dave, and I don't want to share his last name, but from one of the guys from Milwaukee, who provided the Larissa Shadow Strike character. I'm forgetting her name already. The spice is getting to my brain, I'm sorry. That awesome model for one of the giveaways. He hates Nagash. He hates Nagash for all of the reasons one can hate Nagash. Okay? And he said something in one of our early conversations as well. We're kind of getting to know each other. And he saw that I just love Nagash. And he just hates Nagash. And one of the things he said when talking about how powerful Nagash was in LON and so on and so forth was, but I can't be truly mad because the army plays how it should. Right? This feels like an ultimate truth to me in Age of Sigmar these days. Not necessarily the mad part, but that because the army plays how it should, is this this kind of esoteric question. How should the army play? And for me, the sort of the thing the game should try to do the most. We should always be chasing balance. We should always have an illusion of parity. We should always have that stuff. Always. But the main thing for me that I'm going to always kind of come back to is, does the army play how it should? Petrifex Elite failed that threshold on sort of the sales pitch, which is, this is the defensive one made out of petrified dinosaur bone. When I say those words to you, petrified god beasts are what make these guys. Do you think rend characteristic?
No, not at all.
I don't think anyone in the entire world does. When you read the book, it says they're SEAL Team 6. It says they show up late and kick everybody's ass. They only go in when there is a real problem and you need the real solution. And they show up late because the inference I got was that they're slow because they're made out of fucking dinosaur bone. But then they get there and they get the job done. So I go back to this lever thing, where they have the two levers on the wall and says nerf the save, nerf the rend. You got to do one or the other, because the tankiest army shouldn't also be the killiest army, and that's kind of a third rail thing. That's just the tankiest thing shouldn't be the killiest thing. That is out of the package. I think everyone agrees with that, right? I am the main tank of a World of Warcraft guild. I main tanked through progression rating, had server firsts, and top 100 worlds during actual progression rating before the fall off in whatever came after Wrath, where their numbers artificially went up, but they quit actually going up, right? I didn't do the most damage in my group, did I? I tanked the boss. I did some battlefield control. I tried to keep the thing in the space so that people could kill it, and I turned it, and I did all that stuff. That's actually an off-tank thing. But the main thing was that, this perception of the tankiest thing being the killiest thing. And that's when you look inside of the book. It's the killiest one. Ivory Host sounds like it should be the killiest one. It's not. They don't get to live to kill you. And they have penalties for the bonus that the rest of the army just has laying on the floor. +1 to hit. Ooh. I can get that in 3 different ways before I look at an Allegiance ability that gives me a penalty. So as great as Petrifex Elite was, Ivory Host was bad, by the way. We still haven't addressed it. But the point I'm trying to make is, one of these two things had to go. Tanky or killy. And I feel like the fluff of the army was... The fluff of Petrifex Elite was the tanky one. They didn't get rid of the tanky. They maintained the killy. And so now I come back to what I kind of said with the Games Workshop and the patch notes. They said maintaining the main strength of the army. When they said that, they meant the rend. I don't think they took as wide of a view to the army as I did when they changed the save. Because in an aggregate sense, an army whose, core unit rerolls all saves, rerolling a 1 to save doesn't seem that great. Now, sort of in the ancillary, your other stuff gets to reroll 1s on accident. So, that's cool, and that does make you a little bit tankier. But that's not as tanky as the army that's still sitting there that still adds a net +1 to save for everything within 36 inches. So, you're suddenly not the tankiest by that first litmus test of, how tanky am I? The saves attribute. So you're not the tankiest army anymore. And you can even look over at Null Myriad, because the meta change of, nuking aftersaves, you now have this, thing that's not an aftersave that adds resilience up front, which says ignore a spell on a roll of a die. That's not the same as negating a wound the spell does. You're saying, oh, you arcane bolted me. Roll a die, see if it's gone. And then I'll make my save, and then I'll make my aftersave, right? So you still have redundant resilience. So even Null Myriad is, in a sense, tankier. Because they have some avoidance, right? That they have spell avoidance. That makes them tankier in the right meta. I can talk about Null Myriad in a different episode. But now you have two armies that have a tankier, sort of look to them, or feel to them. And you are not the tankiest. And Games Workshop said the core strength of the army, which is the Rend. I'm getting like these like 4th and 5th waves of heat, by the way, when I swallow. It's horrible. It's not bad, it just like reminds me of how bad it was before. So, like, I don't think that the change was a bad change. And I don't think it was the wrong change, even. I just think it targeted the wrong aspect of it.
Yeah. And I think what they did was they went and said, we have Mortis Praetorians, which are sort of already default the tanky one when you're running Catacross in it. So we don't want to double up on tanky. So then we got to take the tanky away from Petrifex Elite and keep the Rend. So now we have one offensive, one defensive, and then one anti-magic, and one for cavalry. And like in game mechanics, it makes sense, but aligning with the fluff doesn't make sense.
Right. And I'm just like, I thought we cared about this too. And my greatest disharmony in the change, and you wanted honest math, not the one that got paid to like change his opinion and like have hot takes against his own army, which I did, and we did that for 27 hours, and there was a whole rolling joke for 27 hours where like, I'll get to it, ha ha ha. You wanted the honest math. This is the honest math. Like I feel like a disharmony between like the fluff and the product. Now, from an ultimately like how's the army sense, it's fine. Like Petrifex Elite is still going to get played because it still has that red buff. And so kind of what you're saying is like is true. The problem is that some of the other ones aren't pulling their weight with their like advertised. They're not the words that are for me becoming the cardinal rule. They don't play how they should. The other ones aren't holding up their end of the bargain. And so you sort of have this like, now you have the, do I go with the offensive Petrifex Elite, or do I go with the defensive Mortis Praetorians? And I can kill you a turn later. And one of the other problems this army has is RDP generation. So I would posit that the hyper elite army, Mortis Praetorians, because there's only supposed to be 1,000 of them, right? Remember, like they're the fixed amount. Their fluff is that this is Catacross's special snowflake army, and there's only ever 1,000 of them, and they're super unique. They're not fucking super unique anymore. Everyone's going to be playing them. They're going to be the most played faction by the end of the day. Because they kill you about as well in having extra rerolls to hit you, and having an extra access to a reroll to wound you. So, like, it's not quite as good as a single Rend mathematically, but, like, having both of them, and then situationally being about as good and surviving long enough to kill you, becomes an aggregate better offensive army, too. Right. So they're tankier than you, they live long enough to kill you, and they have these 2 buffs to killing you. Like, it's just... And then they buff the utility. Like, they have a lot of the extra good stuff. Like, my solution was more involved. So, like I said, they proposed... This comes back to this dismantling thing. They proposed a solution. I don't think it was the solution. The solution to me was moving the Rend onto Ivory Host and giving them something else. And that +1 to save didn't need to stay +1 to save static. It could have been +1 to save to the big stuff. It could have been +1 to save if you don't move the turn before, or whatever. They could have still net had +1 save that reads as +1 save, or any everyone gets shield tilt, reroll saves if there's a hero within. There were so many other directions. There's that spice coming back. There were so many other directions they could have went to be tanky on stuff that reads as tanky across the entire army. They went with the worst one, rerolling ones to save. Like, fine. I'm even fine with that.
The worst way to improve tankiness.
Right. Having a one I've heard floated around that I love. Make their after save a 5-up instead of a 6-up. Love it. Love it. There are so many armies that just, like, do that. There's ones that give you a fucking 4-up. Like, That reads that. I mean, does that check our? Does it play as it should? You go, they're made out of fucking petrified dinosaur bone. Of course, they should be more undead than the things that have an undead save. Like, and you could, if you want to, like, hamstring them in some manner, like, hinge it to a hero. They have a 6-up, blah. If in range of a hero, wholly within 12, whatever you want to do, they get a 5-up instead. You could have wrote anything for that allegiance ability. Because you wrote a 1 to save, and you couldn't even give it against shooting. It's a 1 in melee. You couldn't even make it against shooting. Look at the fucking Mortec guard units. They have a shield that blocks you from painting half of their head, their entire torso, and half of their, like, lower body. You can't paint their freaking quads. Massive shield. You telling me, like no Mortec guard in the entire world can just go, ip, and, like, stop a fucking arrow? I've seen 300, man. I know that they just, like, do the thing. Like, what? Come on. Like, it... So your question was very pointed, and I don't think I answered it because I feel this disharmony. I need to get off this negative take I'm taking because it is still a change, and it will shift the perspective. Why is it the right change? Why was it deserved? And so on and so forth. Because perception is everything. And people's perception needed to change about the army. And they weren't going to change it with all the talking heads in the world telling you what reality was. They needed to see something to dismantle their belief structure and shift position. I think this naturally happens over a long period of time. I think that had we been playing tournaments on a consistent level, people would have been so mad at Tzeentch and Seraphon and now KO that I don't know that you would have been as mad at Petrifex Elite anymore. I'm happy they didn't touch the points, though, because points were the most wrong decision you could have ever made. How do I know this? Mortec Guard in Ivory Host aren't just not a problem. They're overcosted and suck ass. And they're not a problem in the rest... Pardon me. They're not a problem in the rest of the allegiances either. Like... You know, the whole army in all of the other factions, or all the other sub-factions, isn't a problem on any of the War Scrolls. Where are they a problem? In Petrifex Elite. Again, I'm not denying that there wasn't a problem. I just thought that the problem was different, you know? Or that the change was different. And so, when it gets right down to it, I'm fine. The army will be fine. I'm just going to run Petrifex Elite and kill you anyway, because I'm arrogant. And I told you that the +1 to save wasn't why you were losing. And I'm going to prove it and beat you with it.
I could give you my own answer. Because I have a number of local players that play OBR. And honestly, like, I feel like most of the time it's actually a pretty fair game. And my locals don't play Petrifex. Because everybody thinks it's like this overpowered thing. I go to a tournament and I get paired against Petrifex Elite first round and I smash him because I played the board better. That was, by the way, playing with Nurgle, which is, by the stats, one of the worst armies.
Well, you're good with the army.
And within that, I was playing a list. The thing that won me the game was a unit of 4 Puscoil Blight Lords, which everybody thinks is like the worst unit in the army. And then just because of random luck, I played against Petrifex Elite again in that same tournament, and it was a really good list. He was running Catacross and I'm losing the name, the Mortarch.
Archon? Archon the
Yeah,
Black?
Archon. And the only reason I couldn't outgrind him was that Catacross and Archon were bringing models back.
Mm-hmm.
If that mechanic wasn't present, my Blight Kings would have completely ground him out.
Also, yeah, that's Frank's list. He does what is called the Two Kings list. Here's a take I don't think people are prepared for. You had more list variants when it was Petrifex Elite was like what most people took. Because you had Catacross builds, you had Catacross plus Archon builds, you had with catapults, without catapults, you had Nagash builds, you had Harvester builds, you had people being cute with like other stuff. Like, so you'd see Petrifex Elite every time. Oh, Petrifex Elite, blah, angry. But the lists were so vastly different that you actually had a ton of choice. Because, like, within the Petrifex Elite, like, umbrella, you could run anything. You've actually net lost meaningful choice in the army now. Like, the lists aren't going to be as varied because most people are going to be on Mortis Praetorians, and most people on Mortis Praetorians are going to bring Catacross. Now, this isn't a bad thing, mind you. This is not a good versus bad. I'm not saying thing bad or thing good. I'm saying it's less varied than you think now. The illusion of choice is more important than actual amounts of choices for people. This is human nature. The illusion of choice is greater now, but the actual amount of net choices to making the most optimized lists is less. That's not a good or bad thing. It's not what I'm arguing here. But that is a reality. There are fewer choices to make in list building now than there were before. That is a statement of a fact. Now, but I can throw all of the stalkers into a list now and do all of this and do all of that. And I'm like, yes, if you want to totally miss the point because you could have done all of that before as well. There was nothing forcing you to take Petrifex Elite as an Ossiarch Bone Reapers player apart from your own insecurity and the hive mind that was the internet telling you this is the best thing, so you took it because you didn't want to be not the best. You didn't want to feel like you were underperforming. You didn't want to see all the stats and statistics and go to a tournament and come back 2-3 instead of 3-2 and wonder about yourself as a pilot. So you went with Petrifex Elite. There was nothing stopping that. So you feel liberated right now to not play Petrifex Elite because it's not a good choice anymore. That's not... Yeah. You're like the person who says, like, I don't like listening to that music because everybody listens to that music. You've still let people pigeonhole you into a different decision. Being the contrarian to whatever comes your way is still a type of conformity. Like, so, like...
Yeah, all the kids that are nonconformists all dress the same way.
Yeah, exactly. My lovely little clique of goths and punks. Our individual snowflakes, we all managed to find each other because we all, like, hated the jocks or weren't accepted by the preps, and then we all just, like, dressed to look like each other, too, as a fuck you to them. Right? The othering. The great othering. This is the worst thing ever. Like, I don't... Again, I'm not saying think bad, think good. This is more complex and nuanced than that, I hope. And I'm not saying, hey, bring back old Petrifex Elite. That's not the take either, because I'm an apologist, so you already have your mind made up on me about my army that I love. I started loving this army. Go to the tape. Go back a year ago when Rantcast started. What did I love? This army. And what did I love even then? An army made out of dinosaur bones. And I was even talking about building a Seraphon army for my son so that he plays the Seraphon army and I play the dinosaur bone army made of his army. And it's so metal and I'm going to have kit bashes and so on and so forth. Like, I don't know. I just,
A lot of people picked up OBR because they love balls.
Also, you couldn't play LON. Pardon me. They crushed LON's playstyle. You have an... So, like, you're a Death player. You're a Death Faithful player, right? We saw about 10% representation in OBR with the statistics. That's about the same amount, by the way, playing LON. The difference being that LON was, like, pseudo-4 armies and 4 sub-factions, blah, blah, blah. It was complicated. The book was bad. It was a nightmare from tracking stats perspective, too. So, that 10% just got told to shelve their army because... This happened to Zinch before too, by the way, and it happens to a bunch of people. They say your army doesn't play with the same stuff you used to play with. To play your army, if you want to stick with your battle tome, LON, you have to buy pretty much a whole new army. About 50% of a new army. You have a decision to make. Play with about 50% of my army that just got nerfed, or play with the new army. I'm basically spending X dollars. And like X plus 2 doesn't seem too unreasonable to me to play the brand new thing. Human psychology, you're going to play the new thing. Recency bias, you're going to play the new thing. The perception alone that they're going to take care of that army better, when the fact that LON was... they're old sculpts. It's not a new thing. It's old stuff. The reality, like, that they called Cities of Sigmar to prep for Cities of Sigmar. They took out a bunch of old world sculpts. What if this didn't happen to you with your Vargulfs and your Direbat swarms and stuff like that? Like, why are people surprised that a bunch of people played the new army when their old version of the army said, you either have to spend $400 to reinvest into your same army that we might not support anymore, or you buy the new thing? Of course people bought the new thing. Why is, because there was 10% of the meta playing it, why is that the big problem? I don't know.
And everybody that already had a Nagash or an Archon could already just, start their army from there.
Well, what was cool...
They already had a chunk.
Well, and this is what ultimately, and to bring it back and tie it, and, tie it back together, what was cool is because, like, I make content, and I put a lot of effort into this, and then I have a writing project I'm working on, and, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, OBR come out, I can run Nagash, and that's half my army, and then I can, like, just put together my Mortek Guard, and get it to the table in a responsible amount of time for, Alpaca was the big tournament that I was, like, aiming for at the time, when, So I'm like, okay, cool, I can get my army together in a responsible amount of time, and go and play that, and then I can, at my leisure, put together my Catacross and my Catapults, for my Mortis Praetorians army I was going to play by the time Adepticon rolled around. So then, like, I get to, at my leisure, put together the rest of my army rather than rush it out to the next event. So, like, that was liberating. That felt really good for my, like, hobby journey. Like, that felt great. Like, I'm suddenly not rushing to put a whole army out because I'm putting Nagash out. And I'm like, dude, I'm going to get to play Nagash. I'm going to have so much fun. I get to YOLO solo him again, like, with Old Mystic Shield, which was, like, when I first started playing him. Hell yeah, let's do that. I want to play him that way. Like, and so, like, I get to do that with, like, Mortek Guard, and I'm like, wait, now I'm not pushing around 100 skeletons plus Nagash, it's just 60 plus Nagash? Oh, like, I get to play fundamentally the same way, but with fewer models and in a less harsh hobby goal. It felt so made for me, and then I can put together my Mortis Praetorians list at my leisure, which is what I was working on going into the isolation. Then I didn't work on any models at all. Because even at the time, we read the ruins, we looked at the tea leaves, we said, Patrifex Elite's not going to stick around. People are too angry about it. There's no way it sticks around. Remember how mad people were at Gabrielle Sherhart and Avocators? They weren't good.
Oh, yeah.
People were just mad. It doesn't matter whether I think the army's good or bad. If people are amount of mad about it, it'll get changed. Like, logic and reality doesn't factor into it at that point. Perception is everything. It has nothing... Even if it was a problem. Like, it was a problem. It was a problem. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a problem. The perception that it's a problem is enough to change it. Like, look at, like, Zangor's... yeah, go ahead.
Gabrielle Sherhart, I think what they should have done with that was, like, double Gabrielle's points.
Yeah.
And FAQ his command ability to only be able to go once on a...
Well, just make his command ability go once. You don't need him to even double his points. Just make his... Like, Stormcaster are expensive already. Like, they're plenty expensive. That army is plenty expensive.
Yeah.
Like, you don't... It doesn't stack. There you go. You can't burn extra command points. But even at the time when that was the case, it was only kind of like crushing plebs, but not even like anyone who played with any degree of regularity. Because if you only ever play Gav with your LGS, you learned how to screen and just completely neuter the list. Like, it's people who heard that it was a problem on the internet, played against it once, and then confirmation bias set in. That's right, it did kick my ass once, and then just got angry on the internet forever about it. Like, again, it doesn't matter what the reality is. Gav, stacking command points just as a fundamental shouldn't be a thing you can do in this game. Period. We learned it every.
That should have been in the core rules.
Yeah, rule of one: the command
think,
points. Make the exceptions down the line. Just like,
right.
Like you make the exceptions with like the Evogators can all try to cast their same spell, or LRL units can all try to empower their sun metal weapons. Fine, make the exception. Pardon me. Peanut from my molar just dislodged, and I'm in pain all over again. Oh, amazing. Anyway, like the default setting should have been you don't stack the stuff, and then make the exceptions. I don't know. It's just,
yeah,
I don't know.
They did that the wrong way.
To put a bow on it though, Petrifex Elite needed to be changed. It got a change that isn't horrible. It's not the worst change ever. Unforeseen. Nobody could have saw this coming. It's not a complete nothing of a change, because it could have been instead of like rerolling ones to save, it could have been like take a -1 to hit, reroll ones to save on melee, or it could have been way. I've seen Ivory Host. It could have been way worse. It does something at all, which is nice. In an RDP sense, I don't have to spend an RDP on all my Mortek Guard units. Every turn, I don't have to budget for that. I can go, I'm only going to save the RDP to shield tilt on that one unit, because the other two, I'm going to feel confident they're going to reroll once, and that's going to be enough. And as a nice little bonus, all my heroes are rerolling, too. Cool. Like, it's not a nothing. It's not like it does nothing. Could have been a little bit better. I'm a little bit disappointed because it could have been a little bit better. I feel like it was changed to the volume of people complaining, but not to the reality of the complaint. I'm not upset about that. That is the world we live in. And the army is still fieldable. I don't have to buy different sculpts or different units. I can still just with a crayon cross out Petrifex Elite and run it as Mortis Praetorians, and I'm just fine. So, there's a lot of like positive in the change. I wish that, to bring it all the way back, that they had reminded themselves of the army should play like it plays how it should. I wish that would have been more of a thing that they cared about. But when I read that, maintaining the core strength of the army, I know that they identified the Rend as wanting to be something they kept in the army. And so that's where they were in their mindset. I love that they told me that, so that I can even begin to rationalize their decision making. I'm like, oh, yeah. You want them to keep the Rend. Then yeah, you're right, you do need to change the save stuff. Maybe release a story now about how they all have like Wolverine claws made out of dinosaur bones, and then I go, got it. Like, their dinosaur bone properties isn't that their bones are harder, it's that they can like modulate their bones like T-1000 around to become sweet sickles and stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool, fixed. Like, so now you just need to like solve that little fluff thing with a couple like cool like Black Library stories or something. Perfect, whatever.
Yeah. All right, I feel like you have successfully answered that, and I think you actually adequately said that it needed to be changed.
It's a big step for me. I'm learning. Look, we love the stuff we love. It's okay. And here's the thing: is like with opinions, you don't need to have the correct opinion. You just got to articulate it well. Like, you just have to. I don't need to agree with you. I just need to know that you've thought about what you believe, and that's enough for me. And I hope that you extend that same courtesy back my way, dear listener or viewer. The bonus rend is called bludgeon, like as in they just hit you with a club instead. I can't revisit it. I'm fine. Ivory Host should have the extra rend. They should still have a bonus to save in some manner, and like reroll ones to hit instead of bludgeon you with a bonus rend. But up yours, Meth. Thank you so much, Joanna. I love you too. Harder blade edges don't. Well, it's like claymores. They're not supposed to be sharp. Yep. They're just supposed to be heavy. Like, you still take out a rider and its horse by just hitting them with the big metal club, and if it's heavy enough, it'll punch through armor sufficiently. because it's going to dent it in towards them until the armor reaches its tensile strength, like efficiency or coefficient or whatever, and then it breaks through it anyway. Yeah, you don't need. Yeah, bone steel folded 1,000 times. Yeah. One change I want to see from the army, I know you didn't ask this, I would love to see Ivory Host get something. Bonus attack. They don't need a penalty to their armor to do it. Just give them something cool. They need 2 changes because their allegiance ability and then their command ability need to change. So their trait and their ability, those both need to change. And give them battle line if for stalkers, so we see them in play. That'd be really sweet. Because right now, like, people bringing stalkers are going to be like people bringing Bulgors in chaos or in Beasts of Chaos. Like, they're doing it because it's cute, not because it's fun. Like, or not because it's fun. It's tons of fun to play huge stuff. They're doing it because it's cute, not because it's good. And that's where stalkers are. Is like stalkers are like, you're going to see them. Yeah, they're going to do damage because like they have damage. It's just functionally how they fit in the army doesn't work. But that's a problem with that role. The bruiser role, the 3 or 5 dudes that cost an amount of points, is a role that just doesn't function very well in Age of Sigmar right now.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So that's not an Ossiarch Bone Reaper's problem. That's a game problem I'd like to see readdressed personally.
All right. Well, that's the end of the questions that I have. We have consumed the nuts. You seem to have recovered from the nut.
I'm good. I'm good now. I have one really like deep molar, because I lost the filling in it, and so like there's a nut repository there that continues to punish me throughout like the night until I go brush my teeth. Ooh, what's the teeth brushing experience going to be like? I'm going to reactivate all the agony. Oh no. Well, maybe the effectiveness of OBR is all bullshit, like Mr. Never Lost Catacross Supreme. You know what, Spawn? You know what, Chaos Spawn? I like you too much to go into this right now. I like you too much to go into this. I think that the real answer is Mortis Praetorians becomes the utility army, and they play up the utility of the whole army rather than its savingness, and then the other stuff it does. It already fixes the RDP issues that the other builds still have by virtue of Catacross. But yeah, Frank says, Frank timed out Chaos Spawn, and then Frank what? Oh yeah, don't time out people. I know it's funny. It's joke. It's funny. Ha ha ha. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Do you want to do the sign off? Do you know the sign off?
I do not know the sign off. I will let you sign off your own show. It's back over to you, sir.
All right. Before I do that, where can people catch you? Because they should totally go watch one of the best shows and one of the legacy shows of Age of Sigmar.
YouTube channel, Radio Free Hammerhal, and on Twitter, where I am occasionally at PMC Math Hammer. I'm also the moderator of the Age of Sigmar memes and shitposting page on Facebook. Yeah, it's where to find me.
Right on. And Chaos Lord Mars reminds everyone that Chat Gang ain't nothing to fuck with for 1,000 RDP. Of course, Chat Gang, you are the show within the show. Your donations are why I suffered so much. I really hope you enjoyed it. I do. Pain is temporary. The entertainment, the pause to your mental health, and the enjoyment of entertainment, like that respite you get to feel watching me suffer. That's why I do it. The main tank of the party takes the hit so the rest of the people can excel and fulfill their roles and their potential. I was the main tank. I took the damage. I don't know what you were. Healer, maybe? I don't know. That weird, like, off-tank healer hybrid? Like, whatever, man. But Chat Gang, you are, again, the show within the show. You're the reason we do this thing. And remember, drink your milk, pay your taxes, be excellent to yourselves and each other.